You see, I hadn't run away and the falcon hadn't got me, but we're still here at the Chatsworth Country Fair, the 32nd. There are so many people around, there's lots of things happening, all of the events in the main arena, and we've got a few people to talk to as well. Stay with us through to 1 o'clock today, when you can learn more about the Country Fair and what goes off, and also we can hear more from Seb Coe. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
You see, I introduced you when you first came over to me, Lord Coe. What's it like to be Lord? And you said, no, it's... I can't ever remember a time when somebody hasn't called me Seb, other than my mother, who, when she got irritated about things, used to call me Sebastian, and I then knew I was in real trouble. But no, Seb is fine. It's like me, I'm Andrew when I'm with my mum.
Yeah,
Andrew to anybody else.
The mothers have that impact on all of us, don't they?
Is this your first time here?
It is not. I know this is probably, some of your listeners will think this is an exaggeration, but I've been to Chatsworth hundreds of times because this was my training ground. And from Sheffield, which is only really a stone's throw from here, pretty much every Sunday, often during the week as well, I would train, do my mileage round here, and you know, I've always thought of this as God's country, and this played a really integral part of my training program from about 1972 onwards. So I think it's probably safe to say there's probably hardly a metre of soil here I haven't run on, and probably, if truth be told, a few metres of it illegally, I would think.
So do you think, what would your time be today?
I don't know. The lovely thing about this park is that you can, after 10 or 15 years of running around here, there were still things that you suddenly discovered that you never even realised existed. And the beauty of it is you could take so many different routes, and sometimes, if it was a bit heavy underfoot, you could run the road. So I used to come out here with training partners as well. So it was really a regular haunt for a lot of distance runners in and around the Sheffield area.
Do you still keep it up? Do you still keep training?
I run every other day, and if you saw the way I ran, you'd probably describe that. You'd think that was a fairly charitable description. I'm a runner that doesn't race anymore, and I think that's probably about the most you can say.
Now, we've been talking about legacy this morning on the
Yeah.
program already, talking about Loudmouse and the legacy of the Olympics and where we are now. You must get fed up with talking about it, but has everything come to fruition?
It's coming to fruition. I think from a personal perspective, I always thought of this as a 20-year journey. It was sort of 2 or 3 years to win the right to stage the game, 7 years to deliver them, and then the next 10 years, and we're into the first year of that now, was really capturing everything that we saw in the Olympic and Paralympic Games last year. And I think you can say the legacy comes in many different guises. From the Paralympic Games, I think one of the strongest legacies is the way people I now know, and particularly young people, view disability. They saw those extraordinary Paralympians doing things that they couldn't do themselves. I think that recalibrated the way they viewed disability. There are more young people playing sport. We want to see more over the next few years. Businesses have certainly benefited internationally from being seen successfully helping to deliver a game. And I think the other thing that you can't really put a monetary number on, if you like, but I think there's a spirit. I think the volunteers, the way the games makers galvanised people to want to go out and do things back in their own communities. I went to the Olympic Park 10, 11 weeks ago, and 30,000 people turned up to sign up to be volunteers at community level. So I think there are lots of things that have happened. And I think that the great thing about legacy is that it can now be driven at a local level. You can't sit in London and say to people in Sheffield or Matlock or wherever it is, that's what you need to get out of the games. I think smart communities are figuring that out for themselves.
But being Paralympics and sort of saying attitudes haven't changed, is it swings and roundabouts? What do you say to those?
Well, it was interesting. I was listening to an interview last night on BBC Radio with Lee Pearson, our fantastic Paralympic rider. And he got asked that question by one of the reporters, you know, it's not changed. He said, well, I'm sorry, I just disagree with that. He said, everywhere I go, I now see young people with disability who feel emboldened to want to take up a sport. He said, I know people look at me in a very different way. They look beyond the disability and to the extraordinary ability that they witnessed in the equestrian ring. So I think it has changed, but I don't think that we shouldn't be sitting here saying, well, you know, it's all going to happen overnight. It's not. You know, the games took us 10 years to deliver, and legacy is a 10-year journey.
What is it though now the games is done, it's a whole portion of your life? Big hole.
No, there isn't, because I'm now chairing the British Olympic Association, so our next challenge is to get our winter teams to Sochi in southern Russia in February next year, and Rio is only 3 years away, so I'm sort of on the other side of the fence trying to figure out how we're going to get our teams there. I'm actually going to Rio in a few weeks' time to look at the holding camp that we've now agreed and signed up for our British Olympians in the lead up to the Games. So I'm very involved in that, and of course I'm still doing the legacy work for the Prime Minister, so it's not quite as frenetic. I don't wake up in quite the same muck sweat as I was at this time last year. And actually I was very flattered to be asked to be the president of the Game Fair, and I was asked last year, but I said I've got my
something in the way.
I got my own little event to worry about last year, but it's nice to be able to come here this year and watch everybody else's efforts.
Kind of a quick word with you just after we take the travel on BBC Radio Derby. Just another couple of seconds.
My pleasure, thank you. And I have a Peak District mug in my hand.
A final word with Seb Coe, my new best mate, he's got to be said, and he's actually got a cup of tea which I haven't got.
I'm shamelessly advertising here. I have Visit Peak District and Derbyshire mug of tea.
You're just a walking advert.
I am.
Can you drive that Formula One car behind us as well? It's got all the adverts on. What's it like though to wear that president badge that you've got?
I'm very flattered. I'm really flattered, because this was a part of the world. This is a part that played such an extraordinary part of my career. It was sort of the lung for Sheffield for so many of us, not just coming here to train, but it was a day out. And I also think it's really important. I've been a very strong believer that, sadly, for all sorts of reasons, there is a growing gap between towns and country, and I really like people from cities, in the way that I was brought up in a city, to be able to get to a park like that, to see a country fair, and also get just a little bit more of an understanding about what the stewardship of the countryside is about. And so when you see young people, watching sheepdog trials and eventing and pony trials and things like that, I think it's a really important part of their education.
So when we see you here next year, is it Wellington's, the old green bomber jacket on as well, and real Farmer Co?
Well, I hope it's sunny.
Listen, enjoy you're here for the whole of the 3 days, aren't you?
I am. I'm here today, Saturday, and I think I'll close it on Sunday and get back to work on Monday.
Go and get your shorts, I'm going to have a run.
No, those days have gone.
So thank you very much indeed. It's Andy Foster on BBC Radio Derby.
What was that like, Andy?
What with my best mate Seb Coe? Spot on.
Well, we've just finished the Chatsworth Country Fair, and what a great weekend it's been. What was really particularly marvellous that we had as our president this year, we had Lord Coe, and he did a tremendous job. He's such a personal guy. Sebastian was here, walked around, talked to everybody, and it's all about the legacy from the Olympic Games, and to connect with Chatsworth and connect with all the other great work he's doing. What more can we say? But it was great to see Seb here, and I want you guys to carry on all the great work you're doing. Thanks very much.